Hello everyone, my name is Kelsey Hill and I would like to take this time to speak with you a little about the importance of encouraging your children to use their imagination and the importance of pretend play as it is connected to their development. Now, imagination is defined as the faculty of imagining or of formal mental images or concepts of what is not actually present to the senses. So basically, this just means your imagination is pulling past experiences or things you have observed or seen and recreating a new presentation of these experiences. As adults, we use our imaginations every day and our ideas every day to create new products and marketing strategies, better equipment, advancing technology, and many more things, just depending on the field you work in. Sometimes we even use our imaginations to come up with excuses like why you don't work out, or why you don't eat healthy, or why your child can't have that candy bar or the toy they see in the store. Now, pretend play is a healthy way for children to build their social, emotional, and even cognitive development. Now, cognitive development pertains to the development in terms of information processing, conceptual resources, perceptual skills, language learning, and other aspects of their brain development. There are a few types of pretend play, but the most used types are fantasy play and dramatic play. Fantasy play is probably exactly what you're thinking it is. This is where your child uses their imagination to create a make-believe place or scenario and act out what they wish to happen. Dramatic play is similar, but it's kind of different at the same time. Dramatic play is more of a reenactment of something your child has seen, experienced for themselves, or even heard about. So this may look like playing house, being a police officer, fireman, doctor, nurse, farmer, mother, animal, etc. The use of imagination and pretend play has been found to be most beneficial and most effective for children if it occurs during the ages of 1.5 to 7 years old. Now, some may think pretend play and the use of imagination is not actually teaching your child anything. Some say it's just something the teacher uses during their classroom to take a break from actually doing their job and what they're being paid to do. This is a huge misconception. As I said earlier, we don't pretend play as adults, but we do use our imaginations to solve issues, create new things, and even express ourselves. This is where those skills stem from. During pretend play, children are learning so much more than can be learned by sitting in a chair and listening to a grown-up speak for 8 hours a day. We know how difficult that is as adults. So imagine if you're 4 years old. Through pretend play and the use of imagination, children learn how to problem solve, they learn coordination, they build their social skills, and they can even cope with real-life issues that they're dealing with. They learn about themselves and the world by finding their interests, abilities, likes and dislikes, and different ways to express both themselves and things they have observed in life. It can also be used as a place to cope with things happening in their life or family members' lives by pretending, which makes the situation more familiar and less traumatic. So, for instance, if a child is pretending to be at a doctor's office and they're either the doctor or the patient, and they have gone to the doctor for a long time and they've needed shots every time they go. This is a great example of coping with something that they're dealing with, because as adults we don't see it as a large ordeal to get a shot at the doctor, but for a child it's a new experience, and so pretending to be at the doctor helps them to deal and cope with what will happen, and it becomes a familiar thing in life, so they're not as traumatized. One of the largest benefits of this is the building of social skills and higher order thinking skills. It may seem like a time for fun activities, but in reality, your child is learning to communicate with other children as well as with adults, and it requires the use of advanced thinking strategies. Now, in regards to communication and social skills, children learn how to negotiate, think for themselves, think from someone else's perspective, become a leader by assigning roles and tasks, by building listening skills, which promotes respect for others. As adults, we know the importance of understanding social cues, and we also know how to respond to them because it's necessary for us in everyday life. Young children haven't yet learned these life skills, and so the best way for them to learn them is by guidance from a parent, guardian, or teacher, and by personal experiences. A great aspect of pretend play is watching your child grow in communication and kindness shown towards others. Now, through this play, you will see your child become more aware of other perspectives, which makes it easier for them to take turns, and it also makes it easier for them. It is so important for your child to have a constant opportunity and access to pretend play and activities and experiences. I want to encourage you to take the time to create a space for your child at home to pretend play and use their imagination. This can be many forms, but most of the common ones are an art table, dress up, and even pretending to be someone such as a farmer or a veterinarian and allowing them to use the same type of tools that those people use. Although having props is not completely necessary, they are super important, and I want to encourage you to use them because they can make the time for your child more fun during this development stage. Similar to their school classroom, you can create a basket for any clothes, shoes, purses, and hats you no longer wear. Scholastic.com has some phenomenal ideas, such as adding toy dishes, stuffed animals, blankets, blocks, and using boxes to create appliances like the one pictured to the left. They also had a great suggestion of keeping old plane tickets, phones that no longer work but are intact, foreign coins or American coins, and old photos or postcards so they can create a new experience they may not have thought about with these materials. A study by Singer and Singer in 2005 showed that parents who read or tell stories to their children before bedtime and regularly discuss the nature and social issues surrounding their child to some degree are more likely to foster pretend play and creativity. These discussions and readings build a metaphorical file in your child's minds of ideas they can pull from later when they are deciding on what to act out or pretend to be. It is also important not to limit the type of people or actions your child decides to pretend. Now, this is a super important thing because for this, I am going to refer to certain gender associations or ideas that people have about them. Now, before people get irritated, I want to explain. During the early years of a child's development, they haven't yet labeled or don't have the ability to label things that are associated with a certain gender. They don't have a real understanding of these aspects of life yet. And so, although they eventually will learn these things, it is important to know that a young boy can play with a doll and a young girl can pretend to be an engineer and use Legos. But these dramatic play choices are not signs of self-identification to a certain gender, but simply a reenactment of something they've seen from their parents or someone else in their family or society. Now, making conscious effort to embrace your child's imagination and promote it will not only allow them to spend their early years having fun creating their own ideas, but it will also grow and increase their ability to interact with others, begin shifting away from an egocentric mindset, and increase their interest. Thank you so much for taking a few moments to find out more information about imagination, and I hope you leave with a completely new or a expanded form of understanding of the importance it has for your children. I have listed a few websites I used for my research that you can also visit if you want to learn more information on the importance of and ways to promote your child's imagination through pretend play.